stargates without frying. Now, when you bring gender twin couples together, they have the ability to rapidly activate their own Merkaba, accelerating their own DNA strand template activation and such. But they have the ability to start bringing in the frequencies, depending on what their particular coding. Indigos, you put gender twin indigos together, they can anchor the Kundalini. Parts of it anyway, depending on if you have 48 codes, you can anchor the whole darn thing times 3. Not just times 1. So people who come together, particularly the Ioni Council, who have that ability to anchor alone, they can anchor the Kundalini. You put them together with their gender twin, they can anchor 3 times the amount of Kundalini frequency. Kundalini frequency coming into the planetary grids will allow something besides not getting fried on a biological level, as far as your twin, being with your gender twin will help this. You may find them popping up in your life. It starts in January 1st it starts. And it's going to move rapidly, I think, because the time is so short, but to the end of the year that we need to get some of this stuff accomplished. But gender twins who are aware that that's what's happening are going to be asked if they're willing to create something called safe zones. Where, and it's funny, you don't have to be an intimate couple. You may find your gender twin, and you may be in a relationship that you really value. That will be respected, though you may find yourself compelled to really needing to find a way to work it out. Because there's a real strong biological draw, usually, between gender twins. It's just, really there. Which they're trying to repress right now with those crystal grids that we're going to reprogram. But we're going to be asked to come in and anchor Merkaba fields by running the Maharic seal together, and then with groups, if we can get groups of people that want to do it. You don't have to tell them what it's all about. Oh, we're just do the light, love, and clueless stuff, Oh, we're just going to do planetary meditation. It's called the Maharic seal. Let's do this. Hey, they're tricking people all the time, They don't give them all the details. Well, we don't have to give them all the details either. We can get some of those people who are being sucked into the Anunnaki manipulation movements and find the common vibration. Light and love, yes. Then there's awareness and cluelessness. Let's leave those out of the game for a while. So great, there's this Maharic seal technique. Really helps to amplify your 12-strand activation, because some of them know about the 12-strand pattern. They know nothing about how it really works. And you can get them to do planetary healing meditations. It helps them to break the control matrix link so they can get into their own Christos template. And meanwhile, it helps you to collect more people to bring more frequency of the Kundalini through. We're going to be asked to set up rainbow web circles, which are anchoring the Kundalini circles. They're not hard to run. There's going to be a procedure they give us tonight that's going to be a bit specialized. And then before you leave, there's going to be a 4-step procedure that uses the amplified energies of the Grual point, a quarter mile off the coast of Siesta Key, for remote access, where you can do it yourself and begin to bring it into your area. People of similar like mind. You don't have to tell them. I wouldn't even attempt, really, to try to tell people what this is about. There are so many levels to this knowledge. It sounds like nuts if you don't have the pieces and how they fit together. But you can at least tell people that this is stuff that helps in planetary healing. Are you interested? Let them feel it out. If they're being very heavily impulsed by either the Anunnaki or the Draconians, they'll feel weird about it. It'll make them very nervous. Implants and Maharic seals tend to not resonate real well together. But if they have a little bit of implanting, but they're not fully wired yet, and they're not being really messed with because the negative ones don't see them as particularly useful right then, they'll play. Because they're human beings here that really want to help the planet. They're just being misguided on how to do it. So if you can bring this in, what we'll do is, because of your biofields, because the extra transmissions, if you want to come tonight and get those to activate, begin activation of the Kundalini in the body, you will be able to, first of all, it'll accelerate your gender twin thing happening. It'll accelerate the process of those vectors coming together where you trip over each other. Secondly, you'll be able to begin creating safe zones on the planet. This is also needed if we're going to activate Stargate 6 to reclaim Stargates 4 and 5 and get them back under burnout protection. The planet needs to be able to handle that frequency, not just the human gene code. If we can build Merkaba sites, which are, we run the Maharic seal, and there's going to be a certain technique that they give us to do this that will be in writing before you leave. It creates a safe zone site where it creates a space. It'll create a Hala phase Merkaba, which is a six-dimensional Merkaba. That's a plug for six-dimensional frequency from the stargates to come in and synthesize through so it doesn't hit the grids and just start creating chaos. We need to help create Merkaba safe zones. There are also zones that, within them, they create a form constant within their area. And they'll be getting a lot more information on this as we go along, but this is the basic concept of what they're wanting us to do if we're willing to help. Wherever we are, we can learn to run the technique just to anchor and say, okay, yeah, I'll anchor one here, anywhere you want. Every step I take, let me anchor one, go ahead. You can have fun with this. It helps your system, because every time you assist in anchoring a Merkaba, it assists in accelerating a bit of your own DNA template and your own spiritual integration process. But these safe zones are going to be areas on the planetary grids that are sealed. First they have the plug for the D6 frequency, the Hala Merkaba. And then you're going to run a Maharic seal, which will become part of a temporary Maharic seal. They will be areas on the planet that are safe, where people can go and receive clear communication that's not intercepted and twisted by the Anunnaki or the Draconians. If they want to do higher self-channeling, if they're in those spaces, they'll be able to get through. Right now what's happening is there's not very many safe zones on the planet. So every time the higher self of a person tries to communicate, the Anunnaki are intercepting, pretending they're God, pretending they're this angel, pretending they're that angel, and misleading people. They're blocking their own ability to communicate with their own soul matrix and their own avatar level. That's not very nice. Safe zones will give people spaces that won't happen in. They're also very important to creating grid stability, so the tectonic plates don't start to crack when all this frequency hits. Popo may go sooner than the scientists think. Maybe it won't. Maybe this tape should be sent to Mexico. They haven't said much about that, and I asked because I had a little just rumbling feeling one day when there was a show on about it, and just a basic National Geographic type show, and I was like, I don't know. Are you sure that's not going? They didn't give me any comment on that. They said Japan is about next on the grids. If those things are going to happen, hopefully they can be prevented. I get a feeling Popo can't be. I think it's beyond the point of return. But as far as Japan and other horrendous things that could possibly happen, they can possibly be prevented. If we can create enough rainbow web sites or Merkaba anchoring sites, we have a chance of keeping the grids balanced enough where it doesn't start whacking out the weather patterns and the tectonic movement and all of that. And one of the most important aspects of this is we're being asked to, if we choose to participate in the rainbow web circles, to keep for ourselves a list of every place you ran a Merkaba. Because if it goes bad, they're going to be the only places that the Guardian Legions can reach us to get us out of here. They will be evac pickup sites if it gets that bad. Hopefully it won't be. But that's why we're being asked to, when we run them, keep track of where they are. Because there will be the places. If you start seeing stuff happening and you get guidance of your own, from your own self, that it's getting bad, and you see political stuff, and you see World War III breaking out or something like that. If World War III happens, or we start to go into that drama, that is a sign that Plan B is in operation. If it gets that far, there's nothing we can do. And that's when the people whose DNA can pass through into inner Earth, portals, will be taken into inner Earth, because that's the closest frequency to this one. Now, that would require a 4.5 DNA strand activation. For an average human, that might be a little challenging in a short period of time. But for an indigo, what's going to happen is something interesting. When we activate the D6 frequency of the Stargate and it starts coming into the grids, it stimulates the already idling sixth strand of the indigo template. They come in with the sixth DNA strand active.